Welcome to the Esports Research Report. I'm Stephanie Orm from Emmanuel College in Boston, Massachusetts in the US.
And I'm Brian McCauley from here in Sweden, where I work at the Media Management and Transformation Center in the city of DreamHack, Jönköping. And our guest today is Dr. Seth Jenny, who is an assistant professor at Slippery Rock University in Pennsylvania in the US of A. Welcome to the show, Seth, and please tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Sure. Thanks for the invitation, Brian and Stephanie. I teach in the Department of Exercise and Rehabilitative Sciences at Slippery Rock. That is in Pennsylvania in the U.S. I'm one of the founding members of the Esports Research Network. I'm on the editorial board of the International Journal of Esports, which we'll be talking about one of the papers that I co-wrote in that first issue. I'm the performance, one of the advisors to Kovac 2.0, the Meta, which is an FPS aim training software. And I'm also the advisor to the SRU Esports Club. So yeah, it's a little bit about me.
Awesome. You're a busy guy, Seth.
Yeah. Yes, and I teach a full 12 credit load as well. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we always like to start off our show by asking all of our guests how they define esports.
Yeah, so you can read 25 pages in one of the first esports papers that I wrote in co-wrote 2016, called Virtually Athletes, where esports fit within the definition of sport. And across that, we discuss how esports fits into defining sports, but in that paper, we define it as organized competitive video gaming. I can certainly elaborate onto that. I did for 25 pages, or we can.
All right, give us one or two more. What would you add to that? I mean, that's the basic one. What's your personal choice to add to it?
I think that to qualify what we mean by organized is that there's a set rules within it, that there is a clear winner and loser, and that the resulting of the competition is based upon skill and not luck. Those would be some other defining characteristics of what is esports.
Disagree that it's always skill, because there's a lot of guys in CSGO getting lucky against me.
I was going to say, you're just going to be salty.
In general.
So as a researcher,
but if we want to dig into that, so that's one of the reasons why some people will say that chess is not a sport, because the physical movements of moving a chess piece doesn't determine the winner or the loser. It doesn't matter how you pick up the chess piece, but it certainly matters the way that you manipulate a controller and a mouse. And it's the same with any type of gambling, or it couldn't necessarily be a sport because it's the winner is based upon luck and not skill. Now, certainly you could say that poker is skillful because there's strategy behind that. But if you're just pushing a button and waiting for a result, then that's not the way you push the button isn't dependent upon whether you win or lose. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
So you kind of do a little bit of a broad spectrum of esport research. You kind of hit a little bit of everything. I'm kind of similar sometimes, and maybe it's not the best way to do it, but what's your main interest when it comes to research in esports?
I started off in video gaming research, particularly exergaming research, and looking at the integration of video games into physical education. And then it moved into more of esports when universities in the U.S. started offering college scholarships, and more departments started recognizing esports as an official varsity sport under their Department of Athletics. And that's when I sort of moved into esports research as compared to video gaming research. So those areas are always major interest to me. So the collegiate scene, the performance side of esports, the health and wellness side of esports are some of the major interests. Impacts of exercise in esports performance. And then I have a lot of colleagues that are sport management professors, and so that's why I also have a significant amount of research done in the sport management field of esports, because I do a lot of collaborations, and I a lot of times assist with data collection and formulating the manuscripts and idea generation, and pretty much all facets of the process. But it's why it's a little bit more of an eclectic approach to esports research.
Is that a multidisciplinary endeavor for you, Seth? You mentioned you're in like a kinesiology department, right?
Yeah, and so I'm just starting to do more. I've since 2013 or so, I've been doing motion-based video gaming research, but um, now I'm starting to get into more of the health side of research. I'm doing a research project right now with the New York Institute of Technology with Joanne Donahue, and we're looking at the impacts of complete rest and exercise, light walking, on prolonged gaming performance and executive functioning while playing FPS games. And so that's hits more the exercise science piece to it.
Very
So
cool.
is it get off your ass while you're playing and take a little break, go for a little walk, and your performance will improve? Because I had a terrible day yesterday. Should I have gone for a walk?
It probably would have improved, but we're in data collection, or we just finished data collection, so now we're doing data analysis. So I'll let you know in a few weeks whether your performance would have improved or not.
Fair enough.
I definitely, whenever I'm feeling stuck on writing, I take a gaming break. So
Yeah,
I look forward to these results.
for sure.
So, Seth, you have another project that you recently published in the International Journal of Esports that I think has been getting quite a bit of attention about the valuation of the esports industry. Can you tell us a little bit about what you found and what was going on, and how that sort of challenges what had previously kind of been the dominant narrative, if you will, about the industry's overall value?
Sure. So co-wrote this paper with Joseph On and William Collis. They both are the co-founders of Team Genshi, which is now called the Oxygen Esports. But Joseph was one of the main drivers to the paper. He works in the executive office of the United States President in the Office of Management and Budget. So he's in their economic policy division. So and then William also is a esports management adjunct professor at Becker College. Both of them are Harvard MBAs, so a little bit different level than Slippery Rock. Not to say that we're not the Harvard of Western Pennsylvania, but so we looked at typically when people will talk about why you should be interested in esports and why you should pay attention, why you should invest in esports. They cite the Newzoo statistic that the esports industry is worth $1.1 billion. And when you look at some other articles and you talk about, and you see that in 2019, the investment size of esports was $1 billion. When you look at the revenue of Fortnite, which this is one of the arguable things of, is that an esport or not? But their revenue in 2019 was $1.8 billion. How is the industry worth $1.1 billion if one of the games within it made 1.8, and the investment being brought into it is the same level as what's being made? It didn't make sense. And so what we did is we William has written a book that I encourage everybody to check out. It's called The Book of Esports. And in it, he has what's called the entire esports ecosystem model, which it breaks down the esports industry into 6 major sections. And what we do is we mathematically show, based upon each of those 6 sectors of the esports industry, how that industry, we believe, is closer to $25 billion. And those 6 sectors are teams, professional players, and streamers is one sector. The game publishers, the streaming platforms is the third. Physical products, so like companies that sell gaming products, is the fourth. Leagues and tournaments is the fifth. And then the last sector is digital tools. So companies that sell digital gaming products that enable people to communicate, operate, and improve their esports performance. And so we discuss about the business models within each of those sectors and the value chains and the actors in the categories, and then provide mathematical equations to show how much each of those sectors are worth in our estimation. And then we totaled up to be 25 billion. And the largest sector, which we estimated the game publishers were at about $16 billion, which they massively dominate the industry.
Seth, I've never said this before to another academic about their paper, but thank you. Thank you for your paper. This has been driving me nuts as everyone's going 1 billion. And I'm there going, oh, it's 500 million audience, when you're pitching for grants or you're trying to justify what you're doing in your university. And then I'm going, and 1 billion revenue, because it doesn't sound as good. And looking at myself, I've got like 4 or 5 hoodies, got my mouse, my headset, my paraphernalia, just these 50 euros worth of CSGO skins. That was research. That all this stuff I've spent. I'm not even a diehard consumer. All the food and drinks I've consumed at DreamHack or ESL events, the souvenirs I brought back, little toys all over my office. I've spent a fortune on esports without even trying. And I'm only one person of 500 million. And this really, really frustrated me that these valuations happened. And I think what's really important is that your paper actually gives other academics an opportunity to justify their research, because now we have 500 million people and a growing market of 25 billion. And it used to drive me bananas that the $150 billion game industry and 0.75% of that was esports. And you're going, that can't be true. Then I have people say, no, it's true. And I'm going, it can't be true. Without even researching it, my logic just said so. So thank you very much. I think it's a very important paper, and we'll have a link below this video because it's also open access. And I think it's also very good for people in business. And I think we should be trying to encourage people operating in the business sector to be able to point to your valuation as something that will actually help grow the industry and support entrepreneurs and innovators, because suddenly there's more backing potential for them, because it's really good. Have you had any direct negative criticism or feedback? Or
why do you gotta go negative?
It's the drama.
All right, yeah,
for
sure. And honestly, we don't have a problem with Newzoo. What we had a problem with is exactly what you're saying is that everyone just cited it without doing their own legwork and just thinking about it. And I don't forget how many, ours 16 pages worth of documentation and 50 citations of why we think it's worth more. And so the 2 biggest criticisms, and most of it was on LinkedIn, so you can find it on there, was our definition of esports was too broad. And so, for example, people thought that including Fortnite shouldn't be included as an esport, and that shouldn't be in there. Which, when you have an esports tournament in the winner, what did Kyle Giersdorf make? 6 million as
3, I think. Was it 3?
3? Okay, yeah.
But he was like 16 years
he's
old.
from Pennsylvania. I should know that.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make sense. So they thought it was too broad. And the other big complaint is that we state in there, with any research that you do, you're always going to have limitations. And so we did not include gambling revenues in our estimation because we felt we could not provide reliable estimates as to how much money was made in that sector, or even fantasy esports. And so honestly, our valuation is then undervalued because we didn't include that. But here's the thing. Did you see anybody posting online about how Newzoo didn't include gambling estimates into their definition? No. Do you see these people that complained about the paper then provide their own definition of esports? And when we say in like complaints or criticisms, probably only 3 or 4 postings I've seen on that, and a few people liked it. But my point is that it's really easy to criticize, but it's very difficult to try to formulate your own ideas and then have other people criticize it. As a college professor, I get that every semester at the end, because I have 200 students telling me what they like about me and what they don't like about me. So I'm pretty used to it by now. Yeah, I wouldn't, I'm not the type that's going to lose sleep over a negative evaluation, but for the most part, we got a very good positive reception, like you both are saying, where we wanted people to not just accept the Newzoo figure and to rethink what is the actual estimate of the esports industry.
Look, Newzoo is great. I use it all the time. I think it's a
Yeah.
fantastic resource. Absolutely, I subscribe to it. I'm pushing to get it into university. That's the only issue I had with it. But they had their method of looking at it, so they weren't wrong. They just had a clearly defined way of valuing it, and that's their prerogative. I love everything else they do, so I just like yours better because it enables me to push for grant funding and
Sure.
I do, like, hey, send me off to a trip to Cologne to ESL there, please. It's research. It's $25 billion industry. Let me go buy some more hoodies.
I think one of the big issues with especially higher level esports industry, when I say like professional, seems to be a lot of gatekeepers that want to look down upon anybody that is not high skilled esports player. And so what is their definition of sport of esport? Is it high level professional gaming? Do you have to be professional? And when we think about the definition of esport, I like to compare it to basketball in the US. So I can understand if I'm going to go out on my driveway with my kids to shoot around and I'll call it, I'm going to play basketball, right? For me, that'd probably be the equivalent of I'm going to play video games. but I'm not doing esports at that point. And then if we look at the YMCA, and they have adult rec basketball leagues, right? Where you have a referee, it's organized, it's competitive. Obviously, people are throwing up bricks left and right, and the skill level's really low at the YMCA league. But that's where, to me, that's when you have everybody is following the same rules, it's organized, it's competitive, the winners and losers based upon skill level. That's where the sort of the definition of esports starts. Mm-hmm. And I think other people are believing that, what's the lowest level of skill that you're going to allow to call it esports. And that's where our paper tries to look at a more accepting, accommodating, holistic view of esports. And that's why the industry valuation is larger.
I totally agree with this. My interest is totally grassroots esports. Mm-hmm. My favorite moment is esports is when I'm in DreamHack and I'm in the LAN part, and the lights go off for the first time, and you feel this wave of people going, it's on. And that, to me, it just gives me shivers even thinking about it right now. And that, for me, is esports. For me, is esports when I go out to a Phoenix Blue here in Jönköping, and they're all playing. There's a few playing Smash Brothers in the tournament, and then they kick my ass, of course. But, that's still esports. I'm losing. I'm the worst player there, but I'm experiencing it, and it's fun, and everyone's nice. And, you're absolutely right. Esports, we focus on the top professional level when it's really across all society. It's in schools here in Sweden. I have friends who are high school coaches who are delivering it as part of physical education. It's